When was the last time you felt indecisive, terrified of making a mistake? The last time you gave up on something because you thought there was no solution, that it was hopeless? When was the last time you tried something, thinking that this time things will be different? Questioning whether we are on the right path will never be a mistake, and there is nothing wrong with accepting that we are losing it on something we don't want for ourselves. But living with fear in every decision is not living. Fear and overwhelm lead to inactivity, and inactivity is the beginning of a deplorable lifestyle. We should all have dreams, goals, or personal projects. The important thing is to always have something to focus on and strive for. But you have probably felt at some point, whether in that project or in your life in general, the feeling of being stuck, disoriented, unmotivated, afraid that things will change or that they won't. This leads you to wondering if you are using your time as you should, leaving things half done, not doing what you should, or postponing it frequently. These types of situations can absorb years of our lives, and that is where qualities such as discipline, perseverance, determination, and the ability to make important decisions and overcome overwhelming situations come in. Of course, implementing all of this in your life is not easy, and my intention is not to overwhelm you. So, for now, the first thing is to focus on the first step. The first step is always the most difficult, but as my father once said, the best way to learn is by doing things in an entertaining way. Satisfactory isn't the be-all and end-all of your life, but it's a good way to test your decision making and how you approach overwhelming tasks. We're talking about a complicated game. Very complicated. It's a game that requires patience, planning, making decisions, and executing them no matter how difficult or painful they are. One of the things I like most about this game is how it drives you to want to try things again, to make them better and better, to then, no matter how simple it is, or if you know others have done better, you come back to see in a satisfactory way what you have done. But of course, you'll never reach that point if you don't even dare to take the first step. Abandoning seems valid to me in two situations: when you know something is not for you and when you leave behind what has no solution to focus on something better. I've abandoned works regardless of the hours invested. On my first attempt, I had done things so badly that starting from scratch was the same as correcting. The next world was better, but when I tried to do things quickly, many of those results seemed unpleasant. So I started again from scratch, thinking the next time I would do everything in an easier and better way. I learned a lot from each world, but I never made things easy. I knew what I had to do and what was coming next, but I only knew how I had done things, not how they could be done, and even less how they should be done. The problem? It's scary to try something new. You know what you've done isn't the best, but you also don't know if what you will do will be different or just lead to the same end. How many times did you think the next time would be better, that you were ready, that you knew everything that could go wrong, only to end up leaving everything, as always? But you know what? If you stop being so hard on yourself and think about it, you've actually done things better and better, even if each occasion isn't dramatically different from the last. In every world I have, and in the current one where I am testing version 1.0 by the way, I started in the same area, but the results of each world, as far as I've gone, are not the same. Because the game is as simple as ever knowing what you have to do, but so complex as to be a butterfly effect. Any slight change you make will cause the rest of the branches, objectives, tiers, levels, or however you want to see it, to be handled in a different ways. You can always try the same thing, but with slight variations, or perspective. Although I haven't dared to do that much, going to other extremes can be very beneficial or counterproductive. In any case, as I always say, before betting on either side of the coin, you might want to think about who throws it first. This time may not be the ultimate. Perhaps this time it will not be your best attempt. But it doesn't have to be the last either. In Satisfactory, as in life, there isn't just one main objective. There are phases and small milestones that aren't there just to kill time. I could explain it in many ways, but I know my audience is intelligent and understands why big projects should be planned in small steps. However, there will always be things that are not necessarily a part of these steps, like exploring, searching for hard drives, fighting the local fauna, look for a good friendo, or just giving your structures a better style. But remember, there are priorities. Watch the time you invest in secondary activities, and most importantly, be honest. Ask yourself if you're doing something secondary because you need a break, because it can actually offer something good like having more order and saving time in the future, or just because you don't want to do what you really have to do. Sometimes temporary solutions are necessary, I know that, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't take time to use a foundation and put some order. The further you go, the more complex everything becomes, and the more things you have to pay attention to. You will always thank yourself for being thorough. Even if there are things that doesn't require that much effort, remember, the way you do something is the way you do everything. This is one of my biggest mistakes. I often fear doing too much and using resources I could better spend elsewhere. Ironically, I rarely discover that better way. I can't offer much here. I'm still dealing with this, but I can say that it's always better to solve a problem before it happens. I don't even know how many hours I could have saved if I had put aside my pride to watch videos or use patience to plan for me. While it's true that you should never rely too much on outside things, there's nothing wrong with a little help, as long as you don't forget that it's still your responsibility, and don't forget to put your own effort and creativity into it. In the end, what will truly make you feel satisfied is knowing that what you see materialized came from you. The more you progress, the more complicated it will get, but if you've been implementing the previous tips, you'll not only advance faster, but also avoid many problems. You will never know how much time and trouble you saved, so there won't be a feeling of euphoria. But hey, you got here. Don't forget your goals, why you started, how you started. You already did it once, you just have to keep doing it. What happens if I'm wrong? Well, you will have to invest some time to correct things, and Satisfactory will teach you quite well how to look for solutions if you don't want everything you have done to be in vain. What if I have to do all over again? I know, it's frustrating, stressful, overwhelming, tiring, hopeless, but it's still better than doing nothing. Believe me, you are going to make a lot of mistakes. Some are going to give you a headache, but always remember that at some point you will look back everything you have done, everything you have progressed. Be it a lot or a little, it will be something you can be proud of. The very name of the game describes the result that you will have for having overcome so many things. Overcoming a fear is not about mentalizing yourself and making it go away. It is about exposing yourself to what causes it and facing it. Satisfactory will always show you what you should do and how you should do it, and you will still continue to make mistakes. One of the things this game can teach you is what kind of person you are when it comes to mistakes. Maybe you are one of those who make fewer and fewer mistakes, or the type who will always make mistakes, but who turns any of them into an opportunity. The only thing that is certain here is that any mistake, no matter how painful it may be, will always be more useful than doing nothing. Interpret everything we have covered well, and you will obtain a valuable lesson for each decision in your daily life. But none of this is useful if you are not constant, disciplined, or focused. Fortunately, I'm constant, but I'm not someone who is disciplined or focused. I tend to take breaks often, and it is difficult for me to maintain concentration for a long time. Even in the game, I usually handcraft some things and leave it there while I watch a video or go for a snack. It's something I keep trying to improve, and I use Satisfactory to force myself not to do anything else until I'm done first. You can't enjoy a break if you're not tired. No matter how many hours you invest, how many problems you solve, or how many fears you overcome, if you don't finish what you started, it was all in vain. Remember, abandoning something does not have to mean leaving things half done, just leaving behind those that serve more as an anchor and don't allow you to bring out a better version of yourself and your work. Satisfactory is difficult. It will never give you an instant pleasure, which is good, since are usually those that lead us to a deplorable states and require double the effort later if we want to get ahead. The satisfaction that this game offers you comes after having dedicated many hours of effort, planning, execution, having made mistakes, having overcome frustrations, and having moved on after stopping to see everything you have achieved throughout the game. We all have a story, and we'll all have the time to tell it. When that moment comes, what story are you going to tell? Throughout several videos, we have explored the world of video games in a quite objective, serious, strict, and solid way. For a long time, however, I have wanted to explore another side, one that I really enjoy, but I have never tried because, as I said, change is something that is scary, and yet, here I am, taking a first step. It's the first time I've tried something like this, and I'm the first to admit that I have a long way to go if I really want to connect with all of you. But I really hope you enjoyed the video, that it made you think a little, that you give this very entertaining game a chance. If you like the content, I would appreciate if you left a comment and subscribe so you don't miss any videos. I was Kevin, and I'm not saying goodbye, but until next.